Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're making a very famous Sichuan dish, the fish flavor shredded pork. This is a fish flavor recipe without fish, so if you want to know how to do this, don't miss out today's content. Hi new friend, this is Erica right here. I'm a Taiwanese citizen currently living in America. Cooking and traveling are my passion, so I'm here to share with you my favorite Asian recipes. On top of that, I also make videos talking about food knowledge and the history background of the dish on this channel, so if that interests you, please subscribe and keep watching. Today we're making a famous Sichuan shredded pork recipe, which called the fish flavor shredded pork. The most interesting about this recipe is that we're making a fish flavored dish without no fish. Why? Here we need to talk about the origin story of the fish flavor stir fries. Fish flavor shredded pork is a very famous Sichuan cuisine in China. And besides shredded pork, there's also fish flavor eggplant, fish flavor diced chicken, and fish flavor omelet, etc. And just like the recipe that we're making today, this fish flavor recipe does not require any fish, no matter what ingredient you're cooking with. Sichuan is probably the third most famous province in China right after Shanghai and Beijing. When you heard of a Sichuan recipe, you can almost always bet that the dish is red in color. The fish flavor stir-fry recipe is no exception. Sichuan was a famous granary in ancient time, and today Sichuan is still a major agricultural province with a huge population that has been listed as top 10 highest GDP province in China. The one fly in the ointment of Sichuan is that 93% of the whole province is covered with mountains, which made most of the Sichuan population live in a small basin area called Chengdu. There's no big lake or ocean at all that surround the Sichuan area, so back in the day, it is really hard to see seafood in Sichuan. That made this fish flavored dish that does not require any fish become super popular in the area. Legend has it that the first fish flavor stir-fry recipe was made by a housewife of a businessman in Sichuan. According to the legend, this family loved eating fish, and they're very particular with their seasoning. When they're cooking fish, they'll always season it with scallion, ginger, garlic, cooking wine, vinegar, and soy sauce to cover up the gamey taste of the fish. A day in the early 20th century, the housewife, as usual, is preparing the dinner for the family. She saw some extra seasoning and ingredients that is used to braise fish on the side corner of the kitchen, so she decided to use all these ingredients for braised fish to stir fry with some other leftover poultry to avoid waste. While she's cooking it, she's a little bit afraid that this spontaneous recipe might not be liked by the family since they're super picky eaters. At dinner, the man of the household was blown away by the taste of this dish. He rushed over to his wife, grabbed her on the shoulder, and asked, "What do you use to make this dish?" The wife looked at his reaction and thought the dish tastes horrible, so she's a little afraid, don't even know what to answer. But before she can say anything, the man of the household started to tell everybody to give this dish a try. And he came back and asked her again, "What did you use to make this amazing dish?" The wife goes, "Wait, what?" The housewife had a taste of the dish and got her confidence back right away and told her husband the truth. After that, the stir-fry dish that made with braised fish ingredients becomes super popular. Hence the name fish flavor stir-fry. Later, this dish had been improved by the Sichuan people over time, and now this fish flavor recipe has officially been listed as a typical Sichuan cuisine. Now you know the origin story and why we don't use fish in this fish flavor recipe, let me teach you how to make today's fish flavor shredded pork. Here are the ingredients that we'll need for today's fish flavor shredded pork recipe. First, we'll need some pork loin and some soaked mushrooms. These type of mushroom is easier to find it dry in the Asian supermarket or Amazon, and then you just soak it in warm water for around 30 minutes and it will soften up. We'll also need some bamboo right here. If you can't find these type of tiny bamboo, you can also use the normal bamboo as well. Any type of crunch will do. You can also use carrots if you don't have bamboo. For any traditional Chinese cuisine, we'll see these three ingredients a lot, which is ginger, garlic, and scallion. The sole ingredient of this fish flavor stir fry is the pickled chili. Make sure you get the red pickled chili for this recipe. Obviously the green and yellow one will work too, but the color is not going to be as pretty. Generally, I like to pick the big red chili because it's less likely to be so spicy. But if you can't find it, you can also replace it with the chili bean sauce. And besides these, the exact amount of the ingredient and the seasoning will be listed in the description box down below. First, let's start with shredding our pork. I like to use my knife to cut them into slices first and then shreds. If you find it a little hard to manage a soft pork like this, you can put it into the freezer to harden it first and then slice. It will help a little. Depending on the texture you like, I like my pork to be a little bit thinner because after it's fried, it will shrink up and become a little bit thicker than it looks right now. To ensure the tenderness of the pork, we'll have to marinate it for around 10 minutes with salt, white pepper powder, cooking wine, and some light soy sauce. If you don't have light soy sauce, you can either use a Japanese sushi soy sauce or use half water and half soy sauce to water it down. Now use your hand to massage the shredded pork clockwise for around 2 minutes. This simple step will allow the pork to slowly absorb the seasoning and the sauce. When the time's up, add in some cornstarch and mix it well. The starch powder will create a membrane on the surface of the pork and lock in the juice. Last step, to prevent the membrane from turning the shredded pork into a meatball, we'll add in 1 tablespoon of oil to prevent sticking, like this. Now the pork is marinating, we can prepare the rest of the ingredients. To make the chili paste from pickled chili, cut off the tip, then use a blender or a food processor to blend it up. If you don't have a food processor, you can also chop it with your knife. It will taste similar, but in order to give this dish that bright red color, you will need a blender. The way to cut this type of soaked dry mushroom is to first cut off all the parts that are still hard after soaking. Then layer the mushroom on top of each other, roll it up, and chop. And here you got some mushroom slices. Oh, and don't forget to shred your bamboo as well. Last but not least, we'll mix in our sauce with some sugar, salt, rice vinegar, cooking wine, Shaoxing wine is preferred, some light soy sauce, and cornstarch to thicken up the sauce later. Mix them well and set it aside. Now all the ingredients are prepped, let's start cooking. First thing we want to do is deep fry our shredded pork. Adding at least 2 cups of olive oil into your wok and heat it up to around 250 Fahrenheit or 120 Celsius. This step is to quickly cook through your pork to around 80% done, so when we stir fry it later, it will be faster. If your wok is too small or you don't have enough oil, you can fry your meat in batches as well. This can not only help them cook more evenly, but also prevent the oil temperature to drop and start sticking. As soon as you see the pork turn color like this, scoop it right out. Don't worry if there's a little bit more pinkness in your pork because we're gonna stir fry it again later. If you prefer not to deep fry at home, you can also use the stir fry technique to cook through your pork, but it might not be as tender as the deep fry type. Now all our ingredients are on point, we can assemble them together. Heat up your wok, then add in some oil. When the oil is hot, add in your minced ginger, minced garlic, and scallion white, the famous holy trinity of flavor in Asian cuisine. Stir fry them until you can smell the aroma, which takes around less than 10 seconds. Then add in your bamboo and mushrooms. These 2 ingredients are safe to eat raw, so it doesn't need too long to cook. Stir fry till you see the bamboo start to turn a little bit softer. We'll add in our pickled chili paste. As soon as the paste is well mixed, we can add in our shredded pork again. Stir fry it in high heat for around 20 seconds so the chili paste can be absorbed by them as well. Pour in the sauce from the side of the wok. Stir, stir, stir. Make sure all the ingredients are covered with the sauce and the liquid is thickened up as well. Drop in your scallion right away. And last, you can add in a little bit of fresh oil to brighten up the dish. Turn off the fire, give it a few flips, and done! The famous Sichuan fish flavor shredded pork is ready. Wow, it looks beautiful and of course smells amazing too. If you close your eyes and just rely on your smell, you might probably thought this is a fish cuisine. the traditional fish flavored shredded pork always has this beautiful red color to it. The pork is juicy and tender, the mushroom and bamboo are super crispy as well. It is packed with flavor, it's spicy, sour, and sweet at the same time. With a bowl of rice, that's all you need for a meal. Now, while we're enjoying our dish today, let's learn some Chinese, shall we? The word of the day today is 鱼香肉丝, fish flavor shredded pork. The first two characters 鱼香 means fish flavored. And the last two characters 肉丝 means shredded meat. And in this case, it's shredded pork. So 鱼香肉丝 is fish flavor shredded pork. Thank you for cooking with me to the end. Let me know if you like this recipe by giving this video a thumbs up. It's only gonna take you a second, but it means a lot to me. I make video on YouTube every Monday and Thursday, so remember to hit that bell and you'll never miss out. Last but not least, don't forget to subscribe on my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!